Well, the next Nintendo console is right around the corner, and probably so is the next Mario Kart game. Everyone likes predictions, but the only thing you can really predict with any accuracy in this game is going to be the retro track selection, so let's do that. Here are the ground rules for what tracks can be included. There will be no tracks that appeared in 8 Deluxe as retro tracks. We've had those same tracks for like 10 years. Additionally, I'll try to prioritize tracks that have never been retro tracks before, except in Tour, in order to share the spotlight. I'll follow the patterns of what kind of tracks appear in which slot, and finally I'll try to keep the full retro track list balanced between different kinds of tracks. Shell Cup, 3DS Mario Circuit. The first track of the Shell Cup is often a basic circuit track. 3DS Mario Circuit has only returned in Tour, and it's one of the better Mario circuits in my opinion, with its sections in the castle and bouncing on mushrooms and such. While it's maybe a bit more complex than other circuits, I think it still fits as the first retro track to introduce players to this game's feel, especially as the Shell Cup more or less expects that you've played at least the Mushroom Cup beforehand. U Toad Harbor. Picking tracks from Mario Kart 8 is tricky since we've, had them for a while. Most likely in the actual game, this slot will be filled with whatever track can showcase the new Mario Kart's new mechanics best. In any case, Toad Harbor is a well-liked, fun, and good-looking track. SNES Vanilla Lake 2. Adding SNES tracks to the retro selections is like eating your veggies. Well, you have to do it. I think Vanilla Lake 2 is fun though. It's in a circle going around a big jagged frozen lake. I've had a soft spot for it ever since playing it in Tour though, and I think it's visually striking. A revamp could potentially make this track super cool. Maybe you can make it 5 laps long instead of 3 or something like that. DS at Delfino Square. Well, this one's not too complicated. Delfino Square appeared in Mario Kart Wii, most recently, but it's I think easily the best basic-ish track from Mario Kart DS. This track is popular and fun, and it's a solid fit for the final track of the next Mario Kart Shell Cup. Banana Cup. GBA Lakeside Park. I've always had a preference for Mario Kart Super Circuit, and it's a nice looking game at least. Lakeside Park has never been remade into a mainline game before, but its Tour remake is pretty neat, and the volcano in the background is fun. Might be a bit too difficult for the Banana Cup, at least in the original version, but well, they could tweak it a bit in the remake. They seem to have a fair amount of leeway doing that with the GBA tracks. Tour Piranha Plant Pipeline. PPP is the only Tour original track that didn't appear in the Booster Course Pass, likely because of its similarity to Piranha Plant Slide. Thus, it's the only Tour track on this list as well. Pipeline is a shoo-in for the next Mario Kart game, since once Tour goes offline, there will be no way to play it. And it's a cool track anyway. I like the pipe vibes and the turns and such are fun. N64 Frap Snowland. So the thing is, I only wanted to include one N64 track, and that track was Wario Stadium, since it's the only N64 track to have never returned before as a retro track. However, Mario Stadium is really long, and it's very similar to another track I'll get to later, so here's Frap Snowland instead. It's a fun ice track with some cool off-road shortcuts and such, so here you go. Wii Toad's Factory. I think Toad's Factory is another shoo-in. It's one of the most popular and iconic tracks from Mario Kart Wii, from its banging music to its non-stop dynamic action. The sense of motion on Toad's Factory is constant, and the track design is just peak overall. The only reason this track hasn't returned yet is because it's only had 2 chances in 7 and 8, and it's had such stiff competition from the other Wii courses. Toad's Factory has gotta come back for the next game. Leaf Cup. 3DS Woohoo Loop. I'm a massive Wii Sports Resort fanboy, so while I didn't grow up on Mario Kart 7, Woohoo Loop is one of my favorite courses. The one-lap design is great, the gameplay is fun, and the setting is wonderful. This is also the only retro beach track on the list, so it fills a hole there. I think Woohoo Loop is slightly more iconic than Mako Woohoo, so this is the Woohoo Island track I stuck on this list. And for those wondering if this track could ever return, Woohoo Town returned as a battle course, so it's certainly possible, even if Woohoo Island is less relevant now than it used to be. And this isn't just my nostalgia talking, I think Woohoo Loop is a objectively really good track, and it's very well liked as well. Wii Dry Ruins. Dry Ruins is my #1 favorite Mario Kart track. It has cool off-road shortcuts, fun elements like the toppling pillars and piling sand, distinct sections, and excellent music. Dry Ruins is objectively the best desert track in the whole series, and it's only second to Toad's Factory in the list of iconic Wii tracks that have never returned as retros. Dry Ruins absolutely has to come back in the next game. U Sunshine Airport. Well, it's pretty simple. Sunshine Airport is just a really great track. It's got a fun theme, cool different segments, some shortcuts and skill-based elements, solid music. It's no surprise that it's one of Mario Kart 8's more popular tracks. I almost put Mount Wario here instead, but the Leaf Cup already had a one-lap track, and the Lightning Cup, we couldn't really put it there. We'll put a pin in that. I'll get to it later. GCN Mushroom City. I am shocked that Mushroom City has never returned before. It has great music, and it's a really cool, unique, and difficult track. The traffic and branching paths make this track iconic and a great way to end the Leaf Cup. Lightning Cup. SNES Mario Circuit 4. Over time, the Mario Kart series has solidified tropes and patterns regarding certain types of tracks. For example, Rainbow Road is always last and very difficult. Bowser's Castle is similarly hard, while circuit tracks, especially Mario Circuit, are usually pretty easy. Super Mario Kart came out before these were established, which, combined with its limited environment selection, left it with a handful of oddball tracks that have never returned, like the simple and easy Bowser Castle 1. And Mario Circuit 4 is another one of those. It's a circuit track, but it's very difficult. The design of the turns and such is pretty fun and challenging though, and it's a cool track, so I think it would be a cool course to bring back for the next Mario Kart's Lightning Cup. GCN Wario Coliseum. Well, I've been vaguing about this track for long enough, so here it is. Wario Coliseum. This track is awesome. It has a brutal aesthetic coupled with extreme track elements, and it's super long. So long, in fact, that it's only 2 laps. It's actually about time Wario Coliseum returns for a new Mario Kart game, especially considering how well anti-gravity would fit into its layout. Because the theme is so similar to N64 Wario Stadium, I decided to cut Stadium and put in Coliseum instead. This track is also the reason Mount Wario isn't here, as 2 ultra-long Wario tracks in the back half of the retros feels just a bit too similar. It's possible to have 2 tracks named after the same character, N64 DK Jungle Parkway and GCN DK Mountain and Wii, but well, Sunshine Airport filled that Mario Kart 8 slot well enough anyway. We can save Mount Wario for a future game. DS Bowser's Castle. The second to last track in the Lightning Cup I think ought to be a Bowser's Castle, and well, this one works well enough. It's certainly recognizable, and the spinning log section is pretty cool, and hey, this fills a DS slot as well. Why not? Bowser Castles are generally pretty cool. GBA Rainbow Road. Last and probably easiest to predict is GBA Rainbow Road. Mario Kart 7's Lightning Cup ended with SNES Rainbow Road, and 8's with N64 Rainbow Road. It only makes sense that the next game would end with the next Rainbow Road. In any case, I think this is actually a really cool track. It's often maligned in terms of Rainbow Roads for some reason, but I think the ramps on the side of the track offer some really cool shortcut potential, and there's lots of space to add cool stuff in a remake. Well, those are my predictions. Hey, maybe sometime I'll make a follow-up with DLC or items or characters or something. Like, subscribe, etc. if you want to see that happen. Bye.